I'm conflicted with this one because you think back to this last regular season, Shasky, they won 46 games. Warriors are 46-36. That's 2 more wins than last season. Last season, they were the number 6 seed in the Western Conference. They avoided the play-in tournament. They played Sacramento in a 3-6 matchup. They advanced to the second round. They won 2 more games this season. They're all the way down to 10th. What has happened? And there's so many games that we could point to, say, boy, if you would have won this game, if you would have won that game, what happens if, Draymond Green is not suspended? What happens if Andrew Wiggins doesn't go away for a little bit? What happens if all these guys didn't get injured? There's so many what ifs and what if this happened with the Golden State Warriors. And then you see Friday night against the Pelicans and great opportunity to take the 8th seed, and they get smoked at home. So I don't know. One word to describe the regular season, because it was a very interesting one for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, it's just, you were predicting things. That Colin Cowherd has this, where Colin was right and where Colin was wrong. Well, where Bonte was right was basically with the binoculars out, forecasting what was going to happen in the West. I mean, if the Warriors are in the East, the Bucks with 49 wins, essentially, it's third place.
Yep.
Third place, Last year, they win the 44, which you referenced, and they had 4 guys over 17 points last year. This year, the second leading scorer had 17 points. Right. So I think the word for me, I wanted to say frustrating, but I don't think that encapsulates it enough. To me, erratic. And I wanted to use oscillating as the word because things have oscillated from one side to the other. But the reason why I'm going to go with erratic is 8th in points per game, middle of the pack in defense, middle of the pack in defensive rating. When they played together, there were moments in time where they looked way better than last year.
Right.
And then they tricked off a ton of games that they should have won. Friday night, and I want to go back to Friday night, was one of the most frustrating games I've seen all year. Everyone's going to point to the second quarter, and they're not wrong. I mean, New Orleans went on a blitzkrieg, and they were hitting everything from 3. To me, it was the fourth quarter. And the reason why the fourth quarter cut so deep for me was because Steph Curry looked so bad. They were blitzing him all night, and I thought it was a microcosm of where this team needs to look in the mirror for these playing games, if they get multiple, and into the future. Steph was getting blitzed. He turned the ball over left and right, and they were searching for that second person as a ball handler, as a primary scorer, to take a little bit of the load off of Steph. Steph hit miraculous shots in that fourth quarter, but it was the turnovers, B. The turnovers were horrible. What, he has 7 in the fourth alone?
7 turnovers. See, that game to me, I hear you on the fourth quarter. I thought the Warriors were lucky to be in the game in the fourth quarter. Friday night, to me, was lost in the second quarter.
Everyone's going to say that.
Second quarter. Because you're up 11 early in the second quarter, and the Pelicans had just lit up Sacramento. They were 22 of 40 from 3 against the Sacramento Kings last Thursday night. And we knew Trey Murphy III was letting it fly. We knew C.J. McCollum was on the heater. We knew Zion was on this game. Now, Draymond Green played as well on Zion Williamson as I've seen a player play on Zion all season long. It took Zion 26 shots to score 26 points. However, when you blow a game open like that in the second quarter, they got 45 points in the second quarter. Every other quarter, the Warriors won. They dominated points in the paint. They out-rebounded the Pelicans. The second quarter, to me, was the ball game. The Pelicans shoot 77% from 3 in the second quarter. 10 of 13, off the top of my head. 10 of 13. They score 45 points. C.J. McCollum, he opened the game 1 of 7. He was ice cold. Next thing you know, boom, 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 boom. He's 5 of 7 from 3 in the second quarter alone. You get outscored by 23 in the second quarter. You're down double digits going, they were lucky to be down 14 going into the half there. So to me, that game was lost in the second quarter, and all of a sudden you're playing uphill. They're a younger team. They're more athletic. I mean, they're longer. And you knew they were going to, whether it was Herb Jones or Trey Murphy III, even though the last shot of the game in that game Friday night was Steph Curry, I thought he could have been a little more patient. There was 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy III did a great job of doubling Steph and sagging off of Draymond Green to make that double from the back and the front. That game to me was done in the second quarter. That to me was a microcosm of the entire season for the Golden State Warriors. That quarter alone, where they've given up 40-plus quarters, where they've given up a barrage of three-pointers, where they turned the ball over in that quarter 9 times. In the second quarter, they give up 15 points off those 9 turnovers. And although they've won what is it, 10 of their last, they're 10-2 in their last 12. 10-2 in their last 12, the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, but the 2 losses are frustrating.
It's frustrating, but even the form of these wins, they're turning the ball over left and right.
Well, I was just looking at like the raw data, and last year Jordan Poole turned the ball over a lot. Just look at the turnovers across the board for this team. They're right back where they were last year in terms of turnovers per game. Just totality of guys being sloppy with it. Yep. The thing that's frustrating to me is literally 2 games. 2 games and everything else plays out differently. 2 games. And we could pick apart, like, 1 game, you're in the 7-8. 1 more game.
Right.
1 more game from that, and it feels like everything is different for you. And I look at the game, like, for example, Friday night is one. I look at the game against the Dallas Mavericks where Andrew Wiggins, who's already missed time for the last couple of years, does a maintenance day. I look at all the time that Draymond missed this year. I look at all of the different opportunities that they had with double-digit leads, and they squandered them over and over. I mean, we could pick 1,000 games this year. And so that's why, to me, like, frustrating is a word that I will accept from the audience today. Erratic. Like,
my word is imperfect. It's been an imperfect season. And they've won 46 games. And it's basically another way of saying incomplete. Because when they have had the roster wholesome, which has only been a few games, we saw them beat Milwaukee by 35. We're like, wow, look at them. They're finally coming to, wow. Next night against Chicago, Steph Curry twists his ankle late in the fourth quarter. They're up 3 in that game. They're up 3 when he twists his ankle and leaves the game. 112-109. Then you lose that game. Then you get blown out by San Antonio. You think about all the homestands they've had, in which 21-20 at home.
I don't know what to say about
after
that.
They flipped the road record. They were 17-4 in their last 21 road games, yet they're 21-20 at home. Now, they do finish with the winning record, but we were baking in on 30-11, 31-10, 32-9. The Warriors roll at home. Not the case this year. Everybody in and out of the lineup. Chris Paul misses multiple times. Gary Payton II misses time. J.K.'s missed time. And now you wonder about his rhythm heading into the playoffs. Where is he at heading into the playoffs? Pods and TJD, they've been constants, but they've had their ups and downs. Sarge started off hot this season.
I mean, he's been in
a milk carton.
Yeah.
Just absolutely disappeared. That coincided with the loss of Chris Paul because Chris Paul and Sarge had the 2-man game rolling. Klay Thompson's season, rough first couple months. It's been dynamic over the last few months. Andrew Wiggins, you see the flashes of potential, the flashes of brilliance, but you don't see it enough. Steph Curry, since the All-Star break, has not been efficient. He's shot close to 34% from 3 since the All-Star break. He is worn down because he's on the scouting report, and these longer defenders are just pressing him and pressing him and pressing him. And you're wondering what the hell is going on here. So to me, just an imperfect season. I even started with Steve Kerr, the coach, and the rotations. Some games where we're talking about the Sacramento Kings, they pull a 24-point lead and go to one center. What was the topic of conversation after that game? Damn, you should have played Moses Moody. He was rolling. Steve Kerr admits it a day later. Yeah, I should have played Moses Moody later. I should have played him more. Hell, Friday night, TJD only plays 22 minutes. Everybody's clamoring for more TJD. What did Steve Kerr say yesterday? Yeah, I probably should have played TJD a little bit more. So for me, it's been an imperfect season. That's the one, because I'm playing with a lot of words in my head. Frustrated is a lot of words, right? Frustrated is is a word that I think a lot of people will use today.
I mean, like, the reality, like, just you and me having it. Are they a better basketball team today than what they were last year?
Absolutely. I think so. Absolutely.
Okay.
By the time they ended that season last year, you're playing like 6 guys.
That's okay. Kuminga felt completely out of the rotation.
Out of the rotation.
Jordan Poole at the end of the year, even though, like, I know people don't want to remember it this way. I think you should go back and Google 2022, 2023 stats and just go the accumulation of stats at the end of the year. He had by far the most minutes played, the most 2-point attempts, the most free throw attempts.
Right.
Like, Jordan Poole was way better than everybody remembers. I mean, guy averaged 20 last year.
Yeah, in the bad season. Bad season.
Season.
But he was unplayable by the end of the season.
I know. And I look at the turnovers. The guy's averaging more than 3 turnovers a game. If you'd have told me it was 17 turnovers a game, I might believe you.
Right.
But, like, they took a very different path this year. And what's frustrating to me is that, yes, the rest of the West got significantly better, but they had so many self-inflicted wounds. And I could point to so many individual games this year where they pull out a couple. We're not even talking about 5. Yeah. A couple of games, we're sitting here in the 6th seed.
Yeah, I mean, there's
and that's the part that's frustrating.
There's a slew of games. There's Denver coming up on a 25-4 run in the last 7.5 minutes, where Jonathan Kuminga doesn't play for the last 18 minutes of that basketball game. And Jokic ends that game with a 3. You know, there's the Sacramento game where you blow a 24-point lead. There's the OKC games where you don't foul Chet. Or you do foul Chet. You know what I'm saying? You don't foul him, you go to overtime, you lose. You do foul him, he makes all 3 free throws, and they win in overtime in Oklahoma City. I mean, there's so many games that you could have flipped here and there, and maybe you're looking at a top 5 seed. And I believe if the Warriors are a top 5 seed, or top 6 seed for that matter, and they're getting the week off, a lot of people in Dub Nation feel a lot better about their prospects of making a deep run.
Totally agree.
Now, the fact is, you do have a chance to get into the playoffs. And Oklahoma City sitting at the 1 seed. If you could just get there, take a deep breath, then you see what happens in the best of 7. But to get there, it's this long, arduous road where you got to go up to Sacramento, and then you got to go to New Orleans or L.A. to try to get into the playoffs. You put yourself behind the 8 ball here where you have to face a double elimination game. And Friday night, to me, encapsulated the entire regular season. Friday night did. We got a little tease of how good they could be. And then we understand that, boy, if they don't take care of the ball, teams go out running. How many live ball turnovers did they have Friday night? It was maddening.
It was maddening. And then, Draymond Green scores the 15 points the other day, the 5 threes, and everyone's talking about, hey, if he just takes a couple shots, look how everything opens up. And he comes out of a do-or-die game. That was a must-have it type of a game with not one shot attempt.
You know, it's such a strange game for Draymond.
Not one shot attempt?
Well, it's so strange because I got to give him credit, man. That Joker defended Zion Williamson as well as anybody I've seen all year.
Yeah.
That one-on-one defense against Zion was as good as I've seen. And Zion's alone. He's alone. 26 points, 26 shots. And Draymond he was playing his left hand so well, he made him work. Then the rebounds. But I hear you on the shots. It was a little strange where he's coming off a 5-7 game, and he's talking about the shot. The team is talking about the shot. Steve Kerr is talking about, man, he's been working on his shot. Draymond's talked about his shot, and he understands that, man, it's in the hips, and I got to just let it fly. And then he doesn't let it fly Friday night. It's kind of weird.
And then why? Can you explain to me why didn't Kuminga play Friday night?
He took a bad fall against who was it last Tuesday? He took a bad fall Thursday night against the Portland Trail Blazers. Saw it before the game, said he was a little bagged up there.
Okay.
So he didn't play. Boy, but
they missed him.
But you know what? It's funny because as that game is playing out, as Brian and Paula Alto's tweeting me left and right about Kuminga's unplayable.
I'm not scared.
Well, you know what? And by the way, I don't think Kuminga shot yesterday. Speaking of Draymond Green not shooting Friday, I don't think Kuminga shot yesterday.
Well, yesterday's game, I don't want to be that guy, but yesterday's game was completely irrelevant.
Yeah, no doubt. It was irrelevant. And the Warriors will tell you, the only thing that was relevant is them winning their last home game of the season, and Benzie fell dancing at the end of the third quarter with their Hardwood Classic squad. But Kuminga didn't take a shot yesterday, and Draymond doesn't take a shot Friday. He doesn't play. But all the people that are like, trade Kuminga. In a game like that against the Pelicans, they needed easy buckets. They needed a guy with athleticism and strength and a guy who could go to the rack and get easy buckets. You were missing that with Jonathan Kuminga. Because I thought that game, Paz was a little overmatched. With the long athletes that the Pelicans pose, they switch everything. They don't care about switching because they got a lot of athletes on that front line. That's where you could have missed. The whole trade Kuminga thing. Pop the film in for Friday night and tell me why you would trade Kuminga. You could have used JK in a game like that.
Okay. Do you know who the top 3 leading scorers on the Warriors are this year?
Yeah, I could take a guess.
Go.
Steph Curry. Klay Thompson. Jonathan Kuminga.
So Kuminga's 3rd. Yes, you're right. Okay. Do you know who is the top 2 free throw attempt shooters on the Warriors?
Let me guess. Steph Curry and Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then do you know who took the most 2-point attempts on a team to balance the floor out? Do you know?
I wonder.
Most 2-point attempts?
I think maybe Jonathan Kuminga, who also led the team in dunks this season.
So like everyone wants to tell me what he isn't, and him and Pods almost virtual minutes per game played, just like 26-6 for Pods, 26-3 for Kuminga. Kuminga had a great year. I'm sorry. Look at the stats. Look at the numbers. Look at the rest of the guys on the team. Kuminga was awesome this year.
Third-year leap?
He was awesome this year.
I thought he took it.
He started the fifth most games on the team, and I thought he was excellent this year. Anybody that wants to say what Kuminga isn't, like you're just out here hating. Kuminga was really good this year.
Well, and that's a wild card going into the playoffs.
Exactly.
And I could see this scenario happening tomorrow night in Sacramento. If Kuminga doesn't start rolling early off the bench, what does Steve Kerr do? Because you can't mess around with this game.
I know.
You can't mess around with the mistakes. You can't worry about somebody getting into the rhythm. You know, what are you going to do if he does struggle early? Right now, I think he's fighting it. The fact that he started 29 straight games. And how can he not? He's 21 years old. And he sees a situation, whether you think it's right or not. Wiggins left the team for 3 games due to personal reasons. And you got to respect that. You got to respect that because something's really going on, and it ain't our business. But something went on, and he left 3 games. But he came back, and he started. J.K. missed 6 straight games after playing some of the best actually playing the best basketball of his career and being the second most consistent player, which all the veterans said. You heard it from Draymond, you heard it from Clay, you heard it from everybody. J.K.'s become our second option, and he comes back and he's coming off the bench. So he's probably thinking,